Dear Diary, I have some more bad news. As you're slowly learning, the human race is almost completely bankrupt ethically and intellectually. Pardon me while I belch. It breaks my heart to have to report this, but I believe that sunlight is the best disinfectant. And whenever anyone does anything bad to anyone else, we need to publicly expose it, partially to shame them, partially to make it so they're more inclined to make amends and fix the things they did wrong. The Trachtenberg family slideshow players were one of the most amazing acts in human history. I was almost like the fourth member of the band, and they were the family I never had. They took me on tour about 8 times around the country and Europe, and I loved them and they loved me, and it was one of the only good things in my life. However, even when I was touring with them, I would see them do bad things to people because they had a sense of entitlement. That's the problem with fame or success. It goes to your head. And they got such good press and everything else like that, and people would blow smoke up their ass, that they would treat everybody kind of poorly. And I would criticize them for that. For instance, they would always trash dressing rooms and not clean up after themselves. I don't think that's reasonable. I think if you make a mess, you should pick up the fucking mess. And to my surprise, they continued to take me on tours, even though I criticized them more than anyone else ever had. And that's a testimony to how absolutely wonderful I am. Thank you very much. They could have taken anybody. Most of their friends are awesome artists and awesome people. Cornmo, Reggie Watts. They've had Regina Spektor, Nellie McKay open for them. All kinds of people. They could have taken anyone as their opening act, but they kept taking me over everybody else because I am the funniest human of all time. Thank you very much. The smartest, most creative, most honest, most nice, fairest person you will ever meet. My philosophy is simple. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I don't give a shit about that's not a Christian ethic, so don't get that wrong. You should treat, if everyone in this world treated people the way they want to be treated, there'd be nothing bad left in the world. In fact, when I ran for mayor, it was in my platform as mayor to create a fairness law and a do unto others law. And because remember, some people think there's differences of opinion. No, there's not differences of opinion. You can't say, well, some people like to get punched in the face and some people don't like to get punched in the face. Some people like to be lit on fire. Some people don't. We're all different. No, we aren't. We all love fucking ice cream. We all love fucking pizza and chocolate. We all love being respected and warm showers. You'll meet very few people who don't like warm showers or soft pillows. All the differences between us are fabricated by certain forces in this world. It's called divide and conquer. Perhaps you've heard of it. Anyhow, so yeah, I can't believe how awesome I am. I mean, I've had the highest self-esteem in history since I was a little boy because I'm wonderful. I really am. Not just my art or my photography or my architecture or my political activism or my investigative reporting. Everything I do wonderfully because I have standards and I have ethics, and most people don't. We live in a world now where the scumbags almost always win. Nice guys finish last, so nobody wants to be a nice guy. If we changed that and more nice guys finished first, more people would be nice. But you live in a world that's dog eat dog because of pieces of garbage like Nazi Bloomberg. Oh, cramp in my leg. But I'm digressing as usual. So the Trachtenberg family were my favorite people ever. Tina was like my sister, my best friend, my mother. She was everything, all rolled into one. Tina was awesome. And Rachel was like my sister and best friend and musical partner and all kinds of other things. And I also really, really liked Jason a lot. I loved Jason. Jason was always funny. He's a little neurotic, but they're all progressives. Most of the time they're liberal and things like that. And every time I was with them, it was fantastic. I've lived with them, all kinds of things for the last 7 years or so, and I love those guys. However, most humans are hypocrites. Good luck catching me in hypocrisy. I dare you. I challenge people all the time my whole life. I said, catch me in a hypocritical act. Bring it on. And they can't. They just insult me. My critics say things like, you're crazy. Well, that's pretty articulate. Did you take your meds? that flatters me. They don't realize that. If you have to insult me with cheap insults, then it must mean you couldn't think of one legitimate criticism. Thank you. Today we're just going to talk about how super cute are friends of mine, Rachel and Julia. They're pretty amazing artists, and I sort of was their assistant manager. Over the last few years, Jason and Tina had built, well, Jason's terrible with business, Tina's much smarter, and she's really responsible for most of the Trachtenberg Family Slideshow players' success. And they got a lot of success. They were making $100,000 a year at one point and touring the world and making $3,000 a night for a show. And then, of course, they flubbed it. The more money they made, the more money Rachel and Tina would blow. And Jason would try to get them to save money to no avail. When I would tour, I would try to get them to stop wasting so much money, the girls. Let's shop. Hey, shall we go shopping? Hey, let's eat at fancy restaurants. They threw away so much food on tour. That really bothered me. I think it should be illegal to throw out food. I think it should be illegal to waste food. For instance, they'd buy gigantic pizzas they knew they couldn't eat, and they weren't going to take it with them on the road. They'd end up just leaving it behind. Horrified me. Tina and Jason have stolen $6,000 from Rachel Trachtenberg, her entire life savings. She's been working in the band since she was like 6. She's been getting paid. Because remember, otherwise it's child labor. She's been the drummer for the band since she was 9, and they would pay her for every gig, $40 a gig or whatever. And that's not only nice and noble, but it's probably the law as well. You're putting your child to work for your band, and you better damn well be paying her. So Rachel would save up all of her money and stuff like that. And at one point, a few years ago, because Jason and Tina destroyed the band's career, and you can ask him, did you take Christopher's advice or did you do the opposite of Christopher's advice? And Jason won't answer the question and Tina won't answer the question. They didn't take my advice. They did the opposite of my advice and destroyed the career they had built. Not very bright. And they've done that. They've destroyed lots of other people's projects too. So it's not even just them. At least they're fair. They not only destroyed my life and my projects, they destroyed their own. So at least they get props for being consistent. But Rachel had $4,000 saved up. And at one point, Tina and Jason, neither one of them who ever want to work a day in their life, an honest job or anything like that. Both of them really lazy. Both of them undisciplined. Rachel has a very good work ethic. Tina and Jason, no work ethic. Of course, I practically raised Rachel, so that would explain it. And, her parents goofed off or took naps or got stoned. And so they couldn't pay their bills. Even though they had a rent-free place and all kinds of stuff, they still couldn't pay their bills because they just make mistakes, endless mistakes. Tina is a professional at not learning from her past mistakes. I've never seen anything like it. She's infamous. We'd go on tour and she'd leave her cell phone at every single restaurant we stopped at. Now, how do you do that 12 times in a row? That's insane. It shows a real arrogance when a person will not change their ways and just keeps making the same mistake. That's not just a bad brain. That shows an arrogance. It shows a certain amount of evil. And so at one point they had to take all of Rachel's $4,000 savings. Now, don't get this wrong. This is some idiots were like, that's okay because they're her parents. They got to pay food and all this stuff. Yeah. You don't put the child to work to pay for the rent and the food. They have to, by law, feed their child and clothe their child. And the child does not have an obligation to work for a living at 11 years old to pay those bills. Shut the fuck up, assholes. And so Rachel, they took Rachel's $4,000 savings. Now, this wasn't a joint savings account. It wasn't like they had put this money in the bank for her. She worked for a living and was homeschooled and saved up her own money. She could have spent it on clothes or whatever. And she did buy a lot of junk food. Oh, my God. And I would yell at her for that. But she still was able to save a lot of money. Her parents, when they get desperate, instead of them getting a job, would just steal their daughter's money. And they took $4,000 from her, and I would tell everybody, this isn't cool. They took $4,000. They say they're going to pay her back. No, they aren't. They're never going to pay her back. Watch. It's a lie. And Rachel also would say the same thing. I don't think they're ever going to pay me back. It's like, you are a very smart young lady. They are never going to pay you back. They'll just use some excuse. Or, they're deadbeats. They're not going to change anytime now. They're in their 40s. So And again, Tina and them can get mad at me. They could say, how dare Christopher tell the truth about us fucking over our daughter? I wouldn't have to tell the truth if you didn't fuck over your daughter. Do you see how that works? You guys jumped in the lake and got wet, and then you blamed the water. My job is to expose evil, whether it's by a friend or a foe is moot. I don't choose sides. That would be corrupt. If I cut slack for my friends, but don't cut slack for Bloomberg, that's corrupt. It's favoritism. It's discrimination. It's not right. I believe in fairness. And Tina can get mad at me all she wants, but I even warned her. I said, Tina, you gotta clean up your act, or I'm going public with a lot of this stuff. And her response was essentially, fuck off. It's like, okay, all right. You don't care about me. You don't care about your daughter. You don't care about yourself. What the fuck? It was really sad because I loved Tina more than I've loved anyone. And she just betrayed me hundreds of times. And she betrayed Rachel thousands of times. So, and then they took another $1,000 from Rachel, like last year, and then they took another $1,000 from her. So as of right now, they've stolen $6,000 from her. Now they can't say it's not stealing. It is stealing any way you slice it under the law. And they no longer even say they're going to pay her back. The last time I confronted them in public, they said, it's not $6,000. It's $2,000. It's like, guys, I was there. Remember, I was in the van every day. Did you forget? Did you not notice me in the van with you every day and in the airports with you every day and in your apartment every day? Did you forget that? Come on, guys. If you're going to lie, at least do it with some competency. And I'm pausing to push save. So, as of right now, 2011, they not only have stolen Rachel's entire life savings, but they've lied about how much it was. And you can ask Rachel yourself. She's much more honest than her parents are. Tina's a professional liar. Jason's a terrible liar. And it breaks my heart that they did all this stuff. They fucked my life up completely. But to fuck over Rachel's life too? Oh my God. And even more amazing, it turns out Rachel's partner in Supercute, Julia, who's immensely talented, etc., 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 she was robbed by her dad, Alec Cumming, who seems to be a nice guy. I always liked him, but he did a bunch of sleazy stuff to me. And it turned out he did a lot of sleazy stuff to his daughter. He never cared about his daughter until suddenly she's in the New York Times getting raves for her music. Suddenly he takes a vested interest in his daughter. That's sleazy. Alec Cumming, you should fucking look in the mirror and you should say, he's right. That's sleazy of me. And I need to change and improve myself as a human being. But he also was getting child support. When Julia was staying with him in Manhattan, the mom has a better job apparently, and they're separated or divorced. And the mom had to pay child support to Alec. Alec, according to Julia, who I know is a lot more honest than Alec, wouldn't spend the money on her. He would steal the money intended for her food, etc., 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 her clothes, etc., etc., etc. And he did a lot of other terrible things too. And that's why I'm making this Dear Diary report for the public. I think people need to know what these people did to Rachel and Julia, and that kind of public pressure can hopefully get them to say, all right, I'm going to clean up my act. I'm going to pay them back. I'm going to apologize, and I'm not even going to get mad at Christopher for telling the truth because he tries to help the weak against the powerful. I had a mother who was a monster, and nobody ever stuck up for me. My mother would bloody me all the time. No one would stick up for me. She'd destroy my shit. No one would ever stick up for me. I would work jobs and buy rare records, and my mother would smash the records. I would build art as a boy. My mother would smash my art. No one ever came to my defense. I do not intend to sit by idly, like everyone else does, as they see Tina, Jason, and Alec rob their kids. And the story's even worse because now Alec and Jason and Tina have tried to, well, they've succeeded in getting me out of Supercute's career as their assistant manager. Because, for obvious reasons, right? Would you want a policeman around as you're trying to get your golden hens to lay more golden eggs that you can keep? It's really bad. Wait, I'm wondering if this should be in 2 parts. Maybe I'll make redundant videos. Yeesh. Because you can only give so long a title to a video. And I want to make sure that Trachtenberg family slideshow players get their credit for robbing their daughter. And Alec Cumming gets his credit for robbing his daughter. And the destruction of Supercute is also documented clearly. In a nutshell, though, Alec threatened Rachel. Now, that's really cool when you're a grown man who's 6'6", threatening a 90-pound girl. That's pretty cool. That's classy. Now, remember, everyone saw the shit, and only one person had the guts to stand up. Me. Nobody else. All the other friends and peers, everybody who saw the Trachtenbergs fuck over Rachel and they fucked over lots of other people. Me, tour managers, Tammy Hart, etc., 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 and Alec Cumming. None of them, most people do, you could be getting raped by a priest and everyone's going to look the other way. No one cares about anyone else in this world. It's all dog eat dog, every man for himself. And shame on the people who saw Rachel being mistreated and looked the other way and are still doing that every day. When they all saw Alec threaten Rachel, and he even admitted it, I've got the emails, everyone saw it, him threaten Rachel, only one person had the courage to stand up to him and say, that's wrong. That is wrong. Yuck. And so I've been ostracized. And the reason he threatened Rachel, he said either T.Y., Christopher, is no longer has any connection to Supercute, because we can't have policemen around while I rip off my daughter and your parents rip you off. Or I'm pulling my daughter out of the band. Now, he didn't even have custody of his daughter at the time, so that was crazy, but whatever. And that's more destructive than you think. I am, you can see that almost all of Supercute's successes have come from my career advice and tips. Meanwhile, I can show you hundreds of examples of where Alec, Tina, and Jason's advice has been moronic. For example, Alec, Jason, and Tina said, call the band Pinky Swear. And I said to Rachel, it's Supercute or I'm quitting as your assistant manager. I'm not going to help a bunch of losers. The name of a product is more important than anything else. It's a lot more important than a product is. You can make millions of dollars off of Pet Rock as long as you got a good name. Pet Rock. Google. They made half their money because of the freaking name they chose. So Alec and Jason and Tina have repeatedly done hundreds of different mistakes, fucking up their daughters' careers. Luckily, Rachel knows I'm always right and trusts me, and almost every time she took my advice. Not once did my advice fail. I got her in the New York Times twice. Her great photos of her. Not bad. Took a few minutes, admittedly. It did take a few minutes, didn't cost a penny. Alec's a lifelong failure. And Jason and Tina had a brief moment of success in their life, which they fucking butchered too. Unbelievable. I've got a track record that's fucking maybe unprecedented in human history in numerous categories and different arenas. Burp, but you don't know all the facts, so don't jump to conclusions. So now, Tina obviously. Tina's like this. Even this horrifies me. Rachel's 17 now, and she still has to sleep with her mom every night. That's not right. And Tina says, we can't have her hanging around with you. You're 43. And I said, what are you talking about? She sleeps with a 46-year-old every single night. What are you talking about? All of her friends are older. That's one reason why she's smarter than other morons her age. Because she doesn't hang around with other retards. Wait, I'm digressing. I gotta wrap this up, don't I? I'm getting near the 20-minute mark. There's a lot more to tell you. I guess I'll do that in a separate diary about how they're destroying Supercute. It's just scary to see what they're doing. We worked hard, Rachel, me, Julia, we worked our asses off and got a lot of good shit done. And lazy fucks like Jason and Tina and Alec are destroying that because they want full control over their daughters, like, horrifying stage moms and stage dads who are going to try and get success off their daughters. Right? Alex never been in a successful band, and so he's now going to sponge off his daughter's success. It's like, wow, I'm backstage hanging out with Kate Nash. All right, I get VIP treatment at these gigantic venues. This is what I always wanted as a musician, but I was a loser failure who couldn't write good music or didn't have any real musical talent or anything. I'm going to sponge off my daughter. Now, you can ask Rachel, did TY do a lot to help your band? She'll say, yeah. Don't ask the parents. They might lie. Although Jason has said to some people, he has admitted that I am responsible for Rachel's artistic development. Tina has, on occasion, been honest, because when they're not being assholes, Tina and Jason are awesome people. And Alec was always a good guy, too. But you see how money corrupts all human beings. It doesn't corrupt me. I've walked away from money almost every day of my life. My dad walked away from $500,000, just completely walked away. Money disgusts me. And I wish I could live without any of it. But the moral of this story is we need to peer pressure on Jason, Tina, and Alec to pay their daughters back, to apologize for lying about me in public to try and kill the messenger, and we could all live much happier ever after if you guys would just come clean. You did some things that were wrong, apologize, and we'll forgive you. But their strategy has been, let's just keep trying to cover up the crimes. It's like, okay, now the cover-ups are even worse than the crimes, okay? Straighten out your fucking acts. Apologize to everyone for what you did. They still owe me money, the Trachtenbergs. They still owe Tammy money. And I can give you lots more details, but my goal here isn't really to expose all the crimes of the Trachtenberg family slideshow players. My goal is to get them to say, okay, we did some things that were wrong and we should make amends. Dig it? I really wanted to log some other stuff. That might be a different video, I guess. Have a nice day, and remember, treat others the way you want to be treated. It's a pretty simple concept.